Hello and welcome everybody. I am Herbert, aka the IT guy, and today we're going to be building a little program in Python that will extract some data from a website. Now we can also call this a web scraper, and that's actually what we're going to be referring to it for the rest of this video, our web scraper. And a web scraping, like I said, is just something, a program that pulls data off of a website and filters through that data to find exactly what you need. So first of all, we're going to be needing a few things, right? So this is just something that we're going to be building in Python. This is by far one of the easiest ways to start with web scraping or with anything related to data. I think Python is the go-to language for this. So we're going to be installing Python, but we're also going to be installing Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is actually a code editor. We're going to be writing our code in Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code has a lot of features, and I like Visual Studio Code, but you can use whatever. If you want to write this in Notepad, be my guest. I don't care. We're going to be writing this in Visual Studio Code. So we're first of all going to be needing to download Python, right? So we're going to go over to python.org, downloads, and then we're going to download Python. We're going to run the installer, of course, and I'm going to go over the entire process. I assume that you at least know how to install a program on Windows or Linux or Mac. We're going to be installing that. Now, do take note, if you're on Windows, you're going to be needing to add it to your path. So at the end of the installation, it's going to ask you whether or not you want to add Python to your path. And you want to do that because it's going to give you a lot more flexibility when typing into the command prompt. Next up, Visual Studio Code. We're going to be setting up Visual Studio Code over here. So I've already set it up. So I'm going to pull it over here. So I've already set up what we're going to be doing, zenquotes.py. And then we're going to be pulling up this little website over here. So this is a website that I found. This is a ZenQuotes website because this is a very, very basic episode. We're going to be relaxing a little bit. We're going to be reading and we're going to be reading and extracting some ZenQuotes just to get to relax a little bit, right? So ZenQuotes is the website. I'll link it in the video description. I would suggest that you use this website because you're not going to be, if you're just new to this, it's better off that you follow along with my tutorial. You can try to do this with whichever website you want, right? So you don't have to follow along with me, but this is going to be easier if you know what I am talking about, and you can see at least which elements within the website that I am talking about, so you can actually start to differentiate between the things. So once we have everything installed, I would recommend that you install the Python extension. So you can go over here and go over to Python, and you can just type in Python into the extensions menu, and you can install Python because it's going to help you a little bit with writing code. It's going to correct some errors for you. It's going to help you with the syntax. Lot easier if you have the Python extension installed. So what do we do right now? So actually, you might not see this window. You probably have another window open. So that's going to ask you to open a folder. So you can actually go ahead and open a folder or create one and then open a folder over here. Select that folder, and then you're going to be having this menu over here. Be sure to name your file extension .py, because if you don't name it .py, Visual Studio Code won't know that this is a Python file, and it's going to be it's going to be a hassle to run it from the command prompt, whereas you can just run it from the terminal within Visual Studio Code. But that only works if Visual Studio Code knows that this is a Python file. So be sure that you name it .py at the end, because it's going to be very hard for you to run Python code when it's not .py. It's possible, but it's just it's just easier if you just run it from the terminal. Okay, so before we dive into coding, let's first take a few seconds or minutes here to actually know what we're going to be doing, right? So what is a web scraper? So a web scraper is basically is a combination of two things. It's a combination of, most likely it's going to be a combination of a request module, and then it's going to be an HTML parser. So a request module is something that can do requests, right? So we're going to be doing a get request, and a get request, you can ask for a get request on the HTML server, on the web server, and the web server will respond with the HTML file. That HTML file contains HTML text, of course, and we're going to be parsing through that HTML text. with our HTML parser. So first of all, let's see what we actually need to do. So let's press F12 on our keyboard here, and let's scroll through this website here. So if you have Firefox or Google Chrome, it should appear quite the same. It should look quite the same. You should also have this little arrow over here. Yours might be popping up in the bottom, but mine, Brave browser, it pops up on the right. So let's go with it. You know, just click the this little arrow over here, and we're going to be looking at this element over here. So we're going to be looking at the quotes. We want to extract the quotes. So let's click those quotes, and let's see over here where we actually are, where we're actually looking at. So we see that this is within a p tag, and this is within a block quote tag. So these are tags, these are HTML tags. This is how HTML is constructed. It does help a little bit if you know a little bit of HTML, because if you don't know any HTML, it's going to be very hard to navigate through an HTML document, right? So this is a block quote tag, and then within that block quote tag, we have this p tag. And this p tag over here contains our text. So what we actually want to do is we want to look for every block quote tag, because we can see that we have p tags over here, but these p tags are not within block quotes. So there's a differentiator already. So we're not looking for every paragraph. We're not looking for every p tag. We're only looking for the p tags within block quotes. So this is how we can actually start filtering through text with a web scraper. And this is basically how web scraping works, you know, at least at the basics of it, right? We also have a lot more advanced web scrapers that work with Selenium, with web browser emulators, things like that. But this is basic. This is just extracting static HTML data from a website. So we have this element over here called block quote. And then we have this p tag, and this contains our loud2 quote that we want to extract, right? And this is the same for any of these quotes. All of these quotes are encapsulated within block quote. So yeah, so let's start writing code, right? So let's minimize this over here, and we're going to be needing a few things, right? So we are actually going to be needing to import some modules first of all, but we haven't installed those yet. So we're going to be needing to install some modules first. So we're going to be needing the requests module, and we're going to be needing the beautiful soup module. So before we start writing code, let's install those. So let's go over to start. Let's type in cmd, and let's type in python -m pip install bs4, which is beautiful soup 4. And then we're going to do the same thing for our requests module. So we're going to be typing in python -m pip install requests. There we go. Okay, so you can see it's already installed on my computer. If it's not installed on your computer, you should see this list populate with these little bars filling up as, you know, just like an installer. And yeah, so everything is installed right now. So let's close that up. And now let's start writing code, right? So let's first of all start with importing our modules. So we're going to be importing requests, and then we're going to be doing something different. We're not going to be completely installing the entire BS4 library. We're just going to be installing the beautiful soup module. So from BS4, import, and here we go. This is one of those examples where Visual Studio Code extension, like the Python extension, can actually help us, because we just typed in B and it's already asking us, did you mean beautiful soup? We just press enter and we don't have to type that entire word. And then we're going to be importing one more module, just because this is just what we want to do in this video. We want to be importing random. And this is just because what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be pulling all of those Zen quotes from the website, and we're going to be throwing that into a list, and then we're going to pick a random Zen quote. So now let's assign our R variable to requests. So requests is going to get our document. So we're going to be doing requests.get, and then we're going to be getting our website over here. So this one over here, and we can do that within the quotes. And within quotation marks, you should be putting the website that you want to scrape. Next up, we're going to be doing our soup variable. So soup equals beautiful soup. And then we're going to be calling our R variable dot text. We want to get the text from that R. And then we want to run our HTML dot parser. There we go. And so actually right now our soup variable is the one that we're going to be working with because now we actually called the HTML parser on soup. So this is the variable we call beautiful soup. We gave r.text as an argument, and we want to run the HTML parser here. So let's do zen quotes equals an empty list. So an empty list because we're going to be populating this list later. And then we're going to be doing a for loop, and this for loop is actually going to loop through our file, through our HTML file, and it's going to search for certain things. So we're going to be naming this variable quote, so for quote in soup dot, and this is a function that we're going to be calling find all, and we're going to be finding all of the elements that contain block quote. Whoops. And then we're going to be, once we found all of those block quotes, within those block quotes, remember we were looking for all the p tags within block quotes. So what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be appending, we're going to be grabbing the text from this p quote, from this p tag over here, and we're going to be pushing that into our zen quotes variable. So let's do zen quotes dot append, append. And we're going to be appending quote.p.text. So this is actually going to look for quote, and quote is actually anything that has the block quote tag. And then within the block quote tag, it's going to look for a p. And then we're actually going to ask for the text value, because if we just ask for a p, it's going to include the p tags, and that's not what we want, right? We want only the text within the p tags. All right, so now we actually could do something like print zen quotes. And this would actually already work, but you're going to see that this is not really what we want, right? We have this whole list of quotes. We're going to be doing it a little bit different. So we're going to be doing random.choice. Remember, we imported the random function at the top, and random.choice, and then we're going to be calling this the zen quotes list on that function. So let's do that again. So now it actually only gave us one, and this is actually what we want. So now it's actually doing fine. So we actually have some zen quotes over here, and it's working fine. And we should be able to find these on the website. So if we do Control-C, let's do Control-F. There we go. Act without expectation, Lao Tzu. So this works perfectly, and this is really one of the easiest things you can start doing with Python. So these are things that you can actually start using in the real world. So this is very, very basic, right? We're working with static HTML, but you can start tweaking around with it a little bit. Now we do have a little bit of issues over here. So something happened with my recording. I had to do it all over again. So I'm wearing different clothes. Anyway, let's just go with it. So what were we doing? We saw that we had the zen quotes right, but we saw that there were some certain things that we didn't want to see. Now let's see if I can replicate that immediately. Nope. Oh, there it is. Yeah. This is the one we wanted, right? So we wanted this click to tweet. The click to tweet is the one we don't want to see appear, because this website, apparently the website added something with different quotes that you can click and then you can tweet it to Twitter. But we don't want that, it will disrupt our zen flow. We want to get rid of that. We want to remove the click to tweet. We just want our zen quote. We just want to chill out. We just want to zen. So what we're going to do is, first of all, let me see here. Yeah, so we want to, well, maybe let's, first of all, let's just see what we want, right? So we want to remove something here, but we only want to remove it if the zen quotes has it in its name. So let's let's just comment this out for now, because I want to reuse some of that code that's in there. So so let's do if, and then we want to see click to tweet is in, and then we want random.choice, but actually let's put random.choice, let's put that into a variable, and let's call that the quote equals random.choice dot choice, and then we're going to say Zen quotes. So one of the Zen quotes, if that is in the quote. I know these variable names are not really good variable names, but let's just go with it. It doesn't really matter all that much. And then we have to let's first of all for a test, let's print that out. So let's print the quote. We're going to get rid of that just in a second, but this is just for testing purposes. So we're going to do print the quote, and then we actually want if it's triggered, you know, let's also print removing the click to tweet. Let's just do it like that. And then we also want to print the quote. So print the quote dot replace. And then we want to specify what we want to replace. So we want to specify we want to replace click to tweet, and then comma, and then nothing. So we want to replace that with nothing, right? So we want just remove it. And else, if it doesn't have click to tweet in it, we just want to print the quote. There we go. So actually we can get rid of this. Yeah, so we can actually. Yeah, so this should actually work now if I press. So we still get everything if it doesn't have click to tweet in it. We still get this. We still get this. Okay, so we actually have to get something that has click to tweet in it, right? Here, there it is. So here we have relax, nothing is under control. Adida, and then it says click to tweet, and then removing the click to tweet, and actually we then have relax, nothing is under control. Adida. Simple as that, right? So now we actually have something that will check if click to tweet, if the string click to tweet, if that is in the quote, and the quote being a random Zen quote we grabbed from our list we grabbed with the beautiful soup, and then it's going to just pass it through this if statement, and if it doesn't contain click to tweet, we just get the quote, right? So this is actually quite easy. So actually we now can just remove these two here, because we know, because we just tested it, we know now that click to tweet is gone. So I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I hope this was a little bit informative. Maybe you learned a thing or two. If so, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And also, if you want to see more of my videos, be sure to subscribe and follow me on my socials. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. The links for my socials are in the video description. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.